In the time it takes you to watch this intro, Tron's network will process tens of thousands of transactions. No joke, Tron handles nearly 9 million transactions every single day, and yet, for some reason, hardly anyone talks about it. Why is this under the radar crypto powering billions in transfers? And what are we missing about its potential? I used to ignore Tron. I'll admit, I thought it was mostly hype, but a few eye-opening stats made me do a double take. Today I'm going to share my personal journey from Tron skeptic to someone who can't look away. This is a story about what Tron really is, how it stacks up against Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, and whether TRX might just be crypto's best kept secret. Spoiler, by the end, I was both impressed and concerned, and you'll see why. A couple of days ago, I stumbled on a report about Tron's explosive growth. It turns out Tron's network revenue hit an all-time high of about $1.2 billion in a single quarter. Meanwhile, 2.6 million people were actively using Tron each day. Those numbers are insane Ethereum level activity, but TRX's price wasn't blowing up accordingly. That mismatch, tons of usage, modest price, got me very curious. How could a blockchain with so much action still be flying under the radar? I had to find out what was really going on with Tron. So I dove in. I went back to the basics: what Tron is, who created it, and why. And to my surprise, the story of Tron reads like a Hollywood script. Ambitious founder, bold vision, big controversies, and a comeback arc that's still unfolding. Let's rewind for a second and talk about where Tron came from and what it set out to do, because it gives a lot of context to where things stand now. See, Tron was founded by a young entrepreneur named Justin Sun back in 2017. Sun was a protege of Alibaba's Jack Ma and already somewhat famous in crypto circles for his marketing flair. His vision for Tron was nothing short of decentralizing the internet, especially in the world of digital content. Think of YouTube, Netflix, or Spotify, huge platforms that sit between creators and consumers. Tron's goal was to cut out the middlemen and let artists, musicians, and developers share content directly on a blockchain platform, getting paid without big tech taking a cut. It was a bold, almost revolutionary mission to give creators more power. In those early days, Tron was often described as Ethereum on steroids, a faster, cheaper network to build apps on. In fact, Tron even made itself compatible with Ethereum smart contracts by developing the Tron Virtual Machine, which is Ethereum Virtual Machine (EVM) compatible. This meant developers could easily port their Ethereum dApps over to Tron and benefit from lower fees. And to supercharge its content sharing dream, Tron's biggest move was acquiring BitTorrent in 2018. Yes, that BitTorrent, the peer-to-peer file-sharing network used by over 100 million people. By buying BitTorrent, Tron signaled it was serious about becoming the go-to platform for sharing media and data without centralized servers. All of that sounds epic, and it was, but Tron's story also has its share of drama. Justin Sun himself is a bit of a controversial figure. He's brilliant and extremely savvy at promotion, famously paying $4.6 million to have lunch with Warren Buffett just to promote crypto. At the same time, Tron faced criticism for possibly copying parts of its white paper from other projects and for being too centralized in how it operates. More on that in a bit because the tech architecture is crucial, but let's finish the origin story first. Tron launched its own blockchain in mid-2018. Before that, TRX existed as an ERC20 token on Ethereum. By the time it launched, it had raised about $70 million via an ICO and moved the headquarters to Singapore under the Tron Foundation. So picture this: a new blockchain, big promises to reinvent the web, a flashy founder at the helm, Tron made a loud entrance. Some people loved it, others thought it was all smoke and mirrors. Alright, what is Tron exactly under the hood? At its core, Tron is a layer 1 blockchain like Ethereum and Solana that uses a form of proof of stake for consensus. Specifically, Tron runs on delegated proof of stake, DPoS. Now, if you're not into technical jargon, here's what that means. Instead of anyone with a mining rig competing to add blocks, like Bitcoin, or tens of thousands of validators like Ethereum, Tron entrusts just 27 validators known as super representatives to produce blocks. They are elected by TRX holders. People stake their TRX to vote. So, in theory, the community picks who's in charge of keeping the network running. 27 validators is a very small number, and that's by design. With fewer cooks in the kitchen, Tron's network can go really fast. Blocks are added every 3 seconds, and Tron can handle up to about 2,000 transactions per second in theory. In reality, it usually does around 50 to 200 TPS consistently, which is still far above what Ethereum does on its base layer. The trade-off, of course, is centralization. Critics argue Tron's DPoS is too centralized since those 27 validators hold a lot of power. And guess what? Many of those validators have historically been aligned with or funded by Justin Sun's circle, which only fuels the centralized critique. For you and me using Tron, though, the result is blazing fast and ultra cheap transactions. Sending TRX or a token on Tron costs basically nothing. Fees are virtually zero. Thanks to Tron's resource model, Tron uses an energy and bandwidth system, similar to how EOS does it, where you can stake TRX to get free transaction credits. The bottom line is, Tron is the king of low-cost transfers. This is one reason Tether US absolutely thrives on Tron. You might have noticed when you withdraw USDT from exchanges, there's often an option for TRC20, Tron's network, that's either free or just a few cents. That's because Tron's network makes moving stablecoins incredibly cheap and quick. In fact, many exchanges and wallets prefer using Tron for USDT transactions because it's so efficient. So, to recap the tech in plain terms, Tron is like a high-speed highway for digital assets. It sacrificed a bit of decentralization, fewer validators, to keep traffic flowing smoothly. No surprise, it's a favorite for everyday payments and transfers where you don't want to burn $20 on an Ethereum gas fee. I've personally used Tron to move stablecoins between exchanges and was amazed at how instant and painless it was. It feels like sending an email that fast. Now, if Tron is so fast and cheap, you might wonder, what's the catch? Why isn't everyone using it? This is where the comparisons to other blockchains come in, and where Tron's reputation and ecosystem, or lack thereof, play a big role. I'm a big believer in looking at the competition, so I naturally asked, how does Tron really stack up against the likes of Ethereum, Solana, and XRP? These are very different projects, but all four share a common goal: being the top dog in facilitating digital value transfers, whether it's payments, DeFi, or something else. Each has its niche. Ethereum, the heavyweight champion of smart contracts. It's the most decentralized of the bunch, thousands of validators now that it's proof of stake, and has the richest ecosystem of dApps, DeFi, and NFTs. But Ethereum is relatively slow and was infamous for high fees during peak usage. Even after upgrades and layer 2s, it's not as cheap as Tron for simple transactions. Bottom line, Ethereum is the general purpose platform with massive adoption, but you pay a premium for that network effect in speed and cost. Solana, the speed demon. Solana was built for pure performance, boasting theoretical throughput up to 65,000 TPS. In practice, it's handled a few thousand TPS at peaks, way above Tron's throughput, and Solana's fees are also very low, a fraction of a penny per transaction. However, Solana's Achilles heel has been reliability. It's so complex, combining proof of history and POS, that it has suffered outages when overwhelmed. Think of Solana like a Formula One car, blindingly fast, but if something misfires, the whole thing might need a pit stop. Tron, by comparison, is slower but steady. It consistently chugs along without the downtime, even if it can't match Solana's top speed. Solana also has a huge DeFi and NFT scene now, whereas Tron's dApp scene is smaller. XRP, Ripple, the old school payment network. XRP Ledger's goal is moving money across borders, mainly targeting banks and institutions rather than everyday crypto users. XRP's strength is speed, 3 to 5 second settlements, and very low cost like Tron. But XRP's focus is on being compliant and bank friendly. It has features like account freeze and KYC enforcement at the protocol level, things designed for enterprise use, not really DeFi. Tron and XRP both excel at payments, but they target different crowds. XRP is courting the banks, boasting partnerships and regulatory compliance, especially after Ripple's recent court victories, while Tron is more of a people's network for everyday stablecoin transfers. Interestingly, Tron's network carries a huge chunk of Tether transactions for remittances and crypto traders, especially in Asia and developing countries. It's become a default rail for sending money where banking access is tough. To put it succinctly, XRP is aiming to be the swift banking network of crypto. Tron is more like the Western Union of crypto, but with a DeFi twist emerging. Ethereum is the decentralized app superstore, and Solana is the high-speed tech playground. Each has a claim to fame. Tron's claim is affordable, fast transactions at scale, and it's really living up to that in the stablecoin realm at $1.60 billion of USDT was circulating on Tron, and Tron now handles about 65% of all daily retail USDT transfers. That's a jaw-dropping stat. Tron effectively dominates small Tether transactions, whereas big whales might still stick to Ethereum or others. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, Tron's reputation. Because if Tron is so useful, why isn't it basking in the same glory as Ethereum or even getting the hype of Solana? Part of it is history and perception. Early on, Tron got a bad rap. As I mentioned, analysts pointed out similarities between Tron's code white paper and other projects, accusing it of plagiarism. Tron was also called an Ethereum clone by some experts, with no fundamental innovation beyond tweaking what was already done. And Justin Sun's relentless self-promotion rubbed some people the wrong way. Fair or not, these things made many in the crypto community wary of Tron. I personally recall seeing jokes on crypto Twitter like, "Tron is all marketing, no substance." Ouch. However, it's 2025 now, and Tron has proven it has substance, at least in terms of usage. Love it or hate it, you can't ignore those metrics. Millions of daily transactions, billions in value moved, a growing DeFi ecosystem. Yes, Tron has DeFi too. Platforms like JustLend have attracted over $5 billion TVL. Tron even launched its own algorithmic stablecoin called USDT in 2022. That one had some hiccups. depeg scares, since algorithmic stablecoins are tough to get right, but it shows Tron is trying to expand its territory. To give a balanced view, I have to talk about risks and controversies as well, and there are a few big ones you should know before anyone considers investing in TRX. This might shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all the money you invest. Always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. Your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed. When it comes to investing, neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, now that you know I'm not here to tell you to buy Tron or anything, let's examine the risks and downsides I found in my Tron deep dive. Centralization, we touched on this, but it's worth stressing Tron's 27 super representative system means power is concentrated. In fact, some research showed a lot of those nodes were controlled by entities with ties to Tron's founder. This centralization could make Tron more vulnerable to coordinated attacks or censorship. If a government or group wanted to disrupt Tron, convincing 15 of 27 validators might be easier than, say, taking over Ethereum, which has hundreds of thousands of validators globally. That said, Tron has operated pretty smoothly so far, and the network has even transitioned to a community-run DAO structure on paper. Justin Sun announced he stepped back, and Tron is now governed by the community. How decentralized it truly is today is up for debate. Regulatory risk and legal troubles, Tron has been in regulators' crosshairs. The US SEC sued Justin Sun and the Tron Foundation in 2023, alleging that TRX was an unregistered security and that Sun manipulated trading volumes. That case is ongoing or at least unresolved in the public eye, which casts a shadow. Moreover, Tron's network has been called out in reports about illicit finance. A 2025 Wall Street Journal piece even dubbed Tron a preferred choice for crypto money launderers, claiming more than half of illicit crypto flows in 2024 went through Tron. When I read that, it blew my mind. Tron's efficiency makes it attractive not just to legit users, but unfortunately to bad actors too. The UN Office on Drugs and Crime echoed similar concerns. This all means Tron could face heavy regulatory crackdowns. We've already seen Circle, the issuer of USDC stablecoin, stop supporting Tron, likely due to compliance worries. If governments start pressuring exchanges to drop Tron or blacklist Tron-related transactions, that would hurt. It's not far-fetched. US authorities have noted Tron's use in illicit transfers and might impose restrictions. Competition and ecosystem challenges. Tron may be a beast in payments, but it's still playing catch-up in areas like decentralized finance and NFTs, where Ethereum, Solana, and others have bigger mindshare. Tron's DeFi TVL, approximately $6+ billion, is respectable, yet most of it is in a few protocols, JustLend, SunSwap. It doesn't have the breadth of thousands of dApps like Ethereum does. If Ethereum's fees continue to come down with Layer 2 solutions, or if newer chains offer both speed and more decentralization, Tron might feel the squeeze. There's also the question of real-world adoption. Tron's made moves like partnering with the island nation of Dominica to issue a national token and integrating with telecom projects like Unity Nodes. Unity Nodes is a blockchain-based telecom verification system that lets people earn crypto for helping validate phone networks. A pretty cool real-world use case, by the way, bridging telecom and blockchain. These partnerships hint that Tron's trying to legitimize itself beyond just crypto circles, but it's an uphill battle to shake off a reputation and win trust in places like the US where Tron is less known. Despite these risks, I found myself looking at Tron as more than just a meme or hype coin. The reality is, Tron today is doing something very useful, providing an ultra-fast, low-cost network for moving value. That's a big deal, even if it's not sexy in a tech innovation sense. And by the way, Tron's economics have improved too. TRX is now slightly deflationary, meaning the total supply is slowly shrinking. In Q3 2025, Tron's supply decreased at about a negative 1.7% annual rate due to coin burns. Tron burns a portion of fees and sometimes does buybacks. Less supply over time can be positive for price, assuming demand holds or grows. Let's talk about TRX tokenomics for a second. TRX started with a huge supply of 100 billion tokens. There was a big circulating supply right from the start, which meant TRX was just a few cents and looked cheap price-wise. Psychologically, some people like buying coins that cost a few pennies, thinking it can easily go to $1, though that ignores market cap realities. As of now, about 89 to 95 billion TRX, depending on what's burned, are in circulation. The network's design requires TRX for everything. It's used to pay fees when they're not zero, to stake for voting power, to acquire bandwidth/energy for transactions, and as the base currency for Tron's dApps. In short, TRX is deeply woven into Tron's economy. If Tron's usage keeps climbing, more stablecoins, more users, the demand for TRX could grow while supply slowly contracts, a potentially bullish setup. Alright, now how do you actually use or invest in Tron if you decided to? Let me share my personal strategy here because I always emphasize safety and backup plans when dealing with exchanges and crypto holdings. Tron, TRX, is pretty easy to find. It's listed on most of the major crypto exchanges worldwide. You can buy it on Binance, for example, or on BitGet or Blofin and many others. Affiliate note: the exchanges I personally use, like Blofin and BitGet, are linked on my website in the description. Those are affiliate links that support the channel, so feel free to check them out if you haven't signed up and are interested. One tip I have, and this is something I do myself, is to sign up and KYC on multiple exchanges. Why? Because you never know when an exchange might face issues, pause withdrawals, or even go down. I always keep a plan A, plan B, plan C. For instance, I've got accounts on a handful of exchanges so that if one has an outage or maintenance, I can still trade or cash out on another. It's a bit like diversifying your exchange risk. All my recommended platforms with affiliate links that help the channel are on my website linked below. Having backups has saved me a lot of stress, and I highly recommend that strategy for anyone serious about crypto. Once you buy TRX, you'll need a place to store it. The good news is Tron has solid wallet support. For software wallets, TronLink is the official go-to. It's like MetaMask, but for Tron, it exists as a browser extension and mobile app, and it lets you hold TRX and all Tron-based tokens, TRC20 tokens, which include USDT on Tron, etc. TronLink also integrates with hardware wallets, and speaking of which, hardware wallets like Ledger support Tron. I personally use a Ledger device for long-term holding. You can connect Ledger to TronLink for a smooth experience. Your keys stay offline on the Ledger, but you can view and manage TRX via TronLink's interface. As always, never keep big holdings on exchanges longer than necessary. Withdraw to your wallet, where you control the private keys. If you want to get involved beyond just holding TRX, there are a few avenues. Staking, voting. You can stake TRX, they call it freezing or staking for bandwidth/energy, to vote for super representatives and earn rewards. It's an easy way to earn a passive yield on your TRX. Many wallets, including Tron and even exchanges like Binance, allow you to stake TRX. The returns come from the block rewards that those 27 SRS share with voters. It's typically a modest APY, a few percent, but hey, it's something. Using Tron dApps, Tron's ecosystem has some DeFi protocols. JustLend, a lending platform, is one of the largest, and there's also SunSwap, Tron's Uniswap equivalent for token swaps, and some others. Honestly, if you're already in Ethereum DeFi, Tron's DeFi will feel like a smaller pond, but it's worth checking out if you're curious, especially since transactions are so cheap, you won't burn fees playing around. Community and development. Tron has a community on Twitter or X, Telegram, etc. They also have hackathons and a DAO structure now. If you're a developer, you can try deploying a smart contract on Tron. It's Solidity compatible, so the learning curve isn't steep if you know Ethereum dev. There might be grants and incentives from Tron DAO for new projects. Justin Sun is known to put serious money into funding things that boost Tron's usage. Now, a quick mention: the crypto space moves fast, and one thing I do is stay plugged into communities. I actually hang out in a free educational Discord server we've set up. Link in the description. It's a place where we talk strategies, new projects, do Q&As, and yes, Tron has been a hot topic there too. You're welcome to join. It's free and a great way to learn from others and share your thoughts. Sometimes just bouncing an idea off fellow crypto enthusiasts can give you insights you'd never get on your own, so definitely hop in if that sounds useful to you. After this deep dive, here's where I stand. Tron is no longer the joke I once thought it was. It's a functional, widely used network that has carved out a niche where it truly shines: cheap, fast value transfer. In a way, Tron is fulfilling a big part of its original promise, empowering peer-to-peer digital content and payments, albeit in a different form than envisioned. Instead of people sharing videos or songs on Tron, that hasn't really panned out. People are sending stablecoins to family overseas, trading on DEXs, and engaging in DeFi on Tron. It became a financial rails more than a content platform, and that's okay because those rails are providing real utility to millions. Bullish potential. If Tron continues to grow its user base and perhaps even improves its decentralization and image, TRX could gain value simply from the network effect. The fact that Tron's price has lagged behind its fundamentals, like we saw with that $1.2 billion quarterly revenue and deflationary supply, could mean there's upside if the market wakes up to Tron's productivity. Also, if crypto markets overall roar back, solid utility chains like Tron tend to get noticed. The risks are real. Tron could face heavy fallout from future regulatory action, especially given its past controversies. Its reliance on USDT is another weak spot. If Tether ever ran into serious trouble or users shifted to other stablecoin networks, Tron would feel it fast, and depending so much on Justin Sun cuts both ways. He's driven growth, but any major misstep or legal issue on his side could drag the project down. From an investing angle, Tron sits in the high-risk, high-reward bucket. It's not the most innovative chain, but it does have real usage and steady fee revenue. The open question is whether that foundation turns into long-term value or if the project hits a ceiling. After digging into all this, I decided to hold a small TRX position. It's far from my biggest bet, but the upside feels worth having some exposure while staying honest about the risks. Tron's climb from a 2017 white paper to a top 10 chain by usage in 2025 surprised me. It reminded me not to dismiss a project based on old headlines. Check the data, try the product, and keep an open mind. Tron changed my perspective more than I expected, and whether you see TRX as underrated or overhyped, I hope this breakdown helped you learn something new. Crypto keeps evolving. Today's underdog can become tomorrow's standout. If you want to dig deeper with us, hop into the Discord link below and feel free to check out the exchanges on my site. If you're looking for places to trade TRX or anything else using those links, help support the channel. And if you made it to the end, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot and tells me to keep making videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.